So we're just kind of hopping through this unit in chemistry, picking out things that I think are kind of interesting and might be important if you want to go dabble in chemistry some more. So we need to talk about what we call chemical reactions. Chemical reactions are said to have occurred when basically you start with something and you get something else. So new substances, totally new substances are formed. So one of the things I like students to know, for instance, then, is if you take H2O, L stands for liquid, and if you freeze it, H2O solid, that actually is not a chemical reaction. Not a chem reaction. And the reason is because you have no new substances are formed. We have H2O molecules here, and we have H2O molecules here. So no new substances are formed. And we're going to see some examples of chemical reactions kind of written and also visual, actually, on the next page. So sometimes it's hard to know if new substances are formed. But in the chemical reactions we're going to focus on, actually, the atoms that you begin with are the atoms that you end with. I know this says all the nuclei of all the atoms remain unchanged. Well, nuclei means same elements. So same elements. Okay, so basically what you start with, you get. We're not making new elements during our chemical reactions. And another thing, actually, we talked about in this unit, we said when we talked about the structure of an atom, you guys told me this is what the nucleus, with what the protons and neutrons, and we have the electrons out here. Okay, let me make 3 more protons because that doesn't seem right to me. A few more neutrons. So looks like lithium. The point here is when new substances are formed, it's all about the electrons kind of doing their thing, shaking hands with other atoms and forming new chemical bonds or breaking their current chemical bonds. So the electrons do that heavy work. One of the things I like, many things I like in chemistry, is we have this, we use what's called chemical equations. So a chemical equation, you read it from left to right, and it tells a story. Reactants are what you start with, and products are what you end with. Okay, so that's it. Notice that what separates the reactants from the products are what we call the reaction arrow. And it's showing the direction to go. That's it. So in a very kind of concise sort of way, chemical reactions can tell quite a bit, and I just think they're exciting to see. Okay, we talked about using chemical formulas. So remember, like for instance, H2O is the chemical formula for water. So instead of writing water, which it takes a lot of work, we would use the formula. That's it. Okay. Ooh, it's not one to go forward. Maybe it is. Next. Okay. So, like I said, sometimes it's more obvious than others that you have new substances are formed. So, for instance, let's say that I have kind of this solid here, okay, and I'm going to put it in clear liquid. So, a new substance is formed because of the color. Now, that looks like a fun one, doesn't it? This one, how do we know new substances are formed? Well, we actually, it's maybe hard to tell, but again, we had clear liquid here, and we had clear liquid there. But when you admit one, when this reactant gets to see this other reactant, then what we say, this is called precipitate. Like if it's raining, precipitate. Precipitate. That's a solid, by the way. Okay, so new substances are formed there. Kind of a subtle thing. We know new substances are formed here in this one because of the bubbles. Okay, so a gas is released. Here we are emitting light, and here also we are emitting light. So the release of energy doesn't have to be a sign that a chemical reaction has occurred, but it can be.